So we moved through that era up until 1973, when Oregon was the first state to decriminalize marijuana possession. So they wisely said, we're not going to expend our resources and put people in jail over this sort of an offense. They couldn't legalize at the time, certainly with the federal government over them, but they did decriminalize, and they were the first ones to do it. Other states followed subsequently. 1996, California became the first state to legalize medical marijuana. We followed in Colorado in year 2000, so we've dealt with the medical marijuana industry for 20 years. And then if we fast forward to 2012. In 2012, the citizens of Colorado passed an amendment to our state constitution known as Amendment 64. We were the first jurisdiction in the entire world to pass what we did. We concentrated on trying to regulate cannabis like alcohol. It is not a benign plant. It is medically active, so we're going to have some sort of structure and regulation. It's not going to be like corn or wheat or something, similar crops. But we established in Colorado under Amendment 64, we first and foremost established that you must be 21. The idea was keep this out of the hands of our kids. This was a large concern. So first and foremost, you must be 21. Secondly, any individual 21 years and older can grow up to 6 plants and possess the cannabis that comes from those plants. Anyone can transport 1 ounce as long as it's in a sealed container. Anyone can give another citizen or otherwise qualified individual up to 1 ounce, but they cannot sell it. Anytime you get into the retail sector or production, then it's very, very highly regulated. For example, for marijuana grows, in Colorado we track every single plant with an RFID or radio frequency ID tag on every plant. So that is literally tracked from seed to sale to try to make sure we can ensure regulation and quality and to keep it out of the black market. We set up a structure whereby that we have secure, safe, adult-only retail outlets, so we don't have illegal drug deals. You can go into a clean, safe, protective environment to get a regulated plant that has been tested for quality, for contaminants and so forth, as opposed to meeting your cousin Kenny's buddy behind Safeway at the dumpster to try to buy a bag of weed. That guy will never check an ID, no indication of quality or contamination, and probably he's got something else he wants to sell to you or your kid. So putting it into a regulated environment has gone a long ways towards a proper structure and giving the proper message to our youth. We also provide that landowners and landlords can regulate or prohibit use and growing on their properties. We've allowed for local control where a local county or municipality can restrict commercial sales and growing. There are actually more places in Colorado that prohibit that sales and growing than that allow it. The perception is that we're a legal state and everything is just a free-for-all, but in fact there are more areas that prohibit it than allow it. We provided for no use on federal lands simply because it's still illegal at the federal level. We put a tax structure in place to support the regulation of the program and to put money back in our schools and to proper education of our youth with regard to drug use. So it's no more scare tactics of you will go insane or any of that nature. Instead, it's here are the practical applications. These are the health consequences, what are the impacts to to your family, to your school, to your church, to your athletics. In other words, we started to talk to kids about adult things like we talk to them about other adult things. Parents are going to have to talk to their kids about alcohol, tobacco, guns, sex. This is just another adult activity that we need to talk to our children about. And we've had great success with it. We dedicated the first $40 million of that tax to schools. And last year, the amount to our schools exceeded $90 million. And from 2014 through 2019, on the adult use side, we have sold, last year retail sales were over $1 billion for that year. We're at about $7 billion over that amount of time. And we're over $1 trillion in that amount of time. And our tax collection has been about $1 trillion on that. In any case, it's a regulatory structure that is working. Our use of marijuana by our young people has been documented to actually have declined since legalization. We have a lower rate of youth use of marijuana than the national average. I like to say we need to give our kids more credit than we do. Crime statistics have dropped, certainly around marijuana, because all those arrests have dropped off. We still deal with a substantial black market. Because we have a more cannabis-friendly environment, we have people coming into the state that are setting up illegal grows, primarily for shipment to other states, that the people in those states want the same thing that we have. And so it does establish a black market, and those efforts to clean up that black market are substantial. And I think if we were to legalize nationally, like Canada did, we would go a long ways toward eliminating that part of the black market. But in any case, it seems to be working for us pretty well. The sky didn't fall. Law enforcement's understanding that this is a much better way to go. They have better things to deal with than arresting a bunch of marijuana users. Our schools have shifted from calling law enforcement to making an internal issue, school suspensions and so forth. So we have a whole different approach in that realm.